Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the market trader. Before we get started, we'll need to review our risk disclosure. Okay, just want to remind one that the content being published and distributed by the market trader is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice. An offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. Testimonials appearing on the website may not be representative of other clients and is not a guarantee of future performance or success. Use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and its partners, representatives, agents, employees, contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that future trading does carry a fair amount of risk and is not for every investor. An investor could lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so now that I've gotten the risk disclosure out of the way, we're going to go ahead and start in on the news and evaluate what we have in the way of news today that could impact the markets. I would say that the biggest news event that could impact the markets today is the home sales. Okay, so we have home sales coming in at 10 a.m. Eastern time. That has the potential of moving markets here. Otherwise, we have a number of Fed members speaking today. We have Fed member Goolsbee, Fed member Muslim and Schmid, and then Fed member Cook speaking. And then we have some additional executive orders. But the real big one, I would say, that could impact the markets here is the U.S. home sales report. They're coming out at 10 a.m. Eastern time. All right, so now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure and through the news, let's go ahead now and see. Let's do one thing here. Bear with me here, guys. I just wanted to post one additional item here. All right, let's go back. Now let's go ahead and open up my portal here, and we'll take a look. We'll take a look at the charts, and we're going to go ahead and start in with the gold market here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove any drawings that we have on the charts. We're going to take a look at, we're going to start off with a daily chart here and try to get a sense of kind of the direction that the market is looking to go. Okay, so as you can see here on the daily chart, okay, we've been, I guess, in range of late, right? We've been in range of late and probably bullish, in kind of a bullish leg of that leg, okay, of late. All right, now if we look historically at this chart, you can see that we've been consistently making higher highs and higher lows in this market, and currently we're developing a bullish candle here. We'll have to see how this closes here at the end of the day, but on the higher time frame, it does not appear that we've broken any sort of, I would say, any sort of significant structure here that would indicate that we are going to see any sort of fall in price in the immediate future. Okay, so let's go ahead now and move into the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn off initial balance here for a moment. Just kind of, again, we're kind of zooming in, getting some additional detail on the daily bars here. Okay, and again, you can see this higher highs and higher lows is becoming more and more evident. We have a developing 4-hour candle that's breaking some structure here at 33.40. Okay, we filled in the gap that was created back on Friday of the 9th. Okay, that gap has been filled, and we've exceeded it. Okay, so now the question becomes, well, what is our next level of potential resistance? Okay, well, we have the 33.40 level above us. Okay, so we go ahead and draw this in as kind of a 4-hour supply level here. Okay, all right, starting in as early as say 34.15 and working our way up all the way to 34.40. So I would expect, since we have not been at this level for some time, or this is kind of an area that has not been tested, that this level around 34.15 all the way up to 34.40 could serve as a potential resistance zone for this current move. Okay, let's go ahead now and move down to the 30-minute chart. We'll take a look at the 30-minute chart and see what the 30-minute chart is telling us. Okay, so you can see that price is above my visible volume range. Okay, indicating that the market is currently in some sort of trend. Okay, we're going to go ahead now and open up our fixed range volume profile here and get a sense. I think we probably know the answer to this question, but it's certainly just to confirm. Okay, is that price is indeed, I suspect, above value, and sure enough, it is. More importantly, we opened above value. Okay, so this is the opening bar here. So fair amount of bulls. Okay, fair amount of bullish participants in this market. Okay, so right now, obviously, headed into the session, looking here to the left to see if there's anything that's kind of maybe could stand in the way of this move here, and I don't see it. We continue to break some structure here to the upside. We see that price is above our value area here, which is right around not yesterday's settlement area, but Wednesday's settlement. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and extend this line here to the right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and extend this line over to the right. Okay, so that area right there, I would expect to be somewhat supportive to price. We're going to go ahead and modify, if I can, modify the color here to a blue color to indicate that it's coming from value. All right, so this is value area high from yesterday's session. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and draw in an anchored VWAP from, say, the start of London here. So let's go ahead and look for our anchored tool here. So this is the start of London. Okay, so you can see that both our daily VWAP and our anchored VWAP based on London is also higher. Okay, last thing that I'm going to draw here, I think, is going to be our initial balance range. We're going to modify this. This was kind of set up for Asia. We're going to go ahead and change this to the US session. And you can see that this is the very first 30-minute candle of gold here. Okay, so I'm going to be looking, as I normally do, I'm going to be looking for this initial balance range to establish. Wait for maybe an opportunity here. Now, one thing I will say that we are a bit extended. Okay, away from VWAP. Okay, so I would expect, without breaking a whole lot of structure to the upside, okay, that price will eventually come back, okay, come back and visit our VWAP range here, okay, and then that would be a logical area for a continuation in price. Now you can see here, right? Let's look at my volume delta bars, right? We had a nice volume delta bar, okay, that came in here on this bar, okay. Not as impressive with the volume delta bar since then. Our positive DI, okay, on our DMI indicator is indicating that we are seeing a fair amount of momentum to the upside. We have our ADX, which is our momentum, is also in line with the direction. So right now, I would say that we need to continue to look for opportunities in gold to the upside. That is not to say that we need to buy at the highs of the highs here. Okay, that just means that we need to locate areas, right, pockets where we could where we could participate in this market and manage our risk. And one such pocket, I would say here is what I'm drawing here is this consolidation range. I would say this area here around 33.40 seems like a logical area, all right, for price to return and offer us maybe an opportunity for a continuation move to the upside. Okay, could be a kind of like a false breakdown, okay, a false auction to the downside and have it kind of reverse, failed auction, I should say, failed auction and reverse up to the upside. One last item I'm going to add here is our ASR tool. Let's see if I can locate that here. Does not appear to be on my chart, which is kind of surprising. Let's see if I can locate it here. All right, let's go ahead and manually add this back in. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up our average session range. Okay, just to get a sense where price is in relation. All right, we're going to go ahead and remove some of the gray background. Okay, and everything else should remain the same. Let's go ahead and just start off with the London session here and see where the market is. Okay, so you can see here that we're reaching or have reached the top end of the London session. Okay, this could offer us maybe a little bit of a pullback back down to this level here. And I would say that this area here around 33.40 could offer us maybe an opportunity to the upside in this market. Okay, so as I mentioned, I still remain bullish on this market. I do see that we've reached maybe some extensions at levels that could cause price maybe to come back here on us a little bit. But 33.40 is going to be a level that I'm going to be continuing to watch. 33.35 and maybe as low as 33.24. Okay, so this area in general does appear to be an area that I would like to be a part of should price come back to this level. Okay, the idea being is that whatever participants came in to drive price higher, chances are that they may or may not have gotten their order filled to its entirety, and that they'll participate again should price come back to this level. Okay, so yeah, again, headed into the session, headed into today's session, I would say that we need to continue to look for bullish opportunities and areas where we can manage our risk for those opportunities. Okay, let's go ahead now and take a look at the crude oil. Okay, and then we'll follow up with the equities here. Okay, so looking at the crude oil, I think the crude oil continues to see a lot of pressure to the downside. Okay, so we're taking a look here at the daily chart. We've been in some sort of range. Okay, we made an attempt to go higher, was rejected, and now we've seen a series of candles here that have created some gaps. Each of those gaps has been filled, not filled to basically revisited, but have left some gaps here to the downside, indicating that there's a fair amount of pressure, okay, to the downside. Looking at the volume delta bar, really not giving us much indication as to the direction. It is kind of neutral. We're seeing an equal number of buys and sells here at the moment. And our ADR indicator is really not, we see that the DI is above our positive DI, but we see that the ADX indicator is kind of waning in the way of, not showing that there's a whole lot of, I would say, momentum behind this current move to the downside. Okay, so daily, I would say in range, maybe range to bearish. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. Okay, so again, we're going to go ahead and turn off our initial balance range. Again, we're seeing structure here, right? We've broken some structure here to the downside. We're in the process of breaking some structure here to the downside. Question is whether price can hold below. If it can hold below, then I would say that it starts to open the door for some of these lower prices, maybe as low as 58. Okay, so the question now becomes, can this 4-hour candle close below this area of range? And if so, that could potentially lead to further price moves or further price discovery to the downside. Okay, moving on to the 30-minute chart. Okay, looking at the 30-minute chart, we can see here that we've already reached the let's see, the ASR. I believe this is set to London. Yes, it is. Okay, so you can see that we've already gotten a reaction off of ASR high, and we've already made the full reversal all the way to the other end of value for ASR range. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up our volume profile. Market is about a couple of minutes away from opening here. We're going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile to locate where price is in relation to yesterday's session here. So we're going to start with the 9 o'clock bar, drag that across to the 4:30 bar, right about there. There, one more bar. There it is. Okay, so you can see, that price is currently below value, indicating that there's a fair amount of interest, fair amount of pressure for continuation move, maybe possibly to the downside. Price with that move has crossed below our daily VWAP, and I'm going to go ahead now and open up our anchor VWAP here and see where London is in all of this. I suspect that it's also bearish, but we'll take a look. Okay, so there's our view, baby blue VWAP. Okay, you can see that price is below both our daily and our anchored VWAP from London, indicating again that there's a fair amount of interest in further downside in this market. Okay, now we have this level around 60, right? Also on the ASR low here, that could offer some support to this market. But headed into the market, I would say that we need to continue to look for the market to continue to maybe move lower. Okay, especially if we can get below this say 60.29 level. Okay, if we can close below that 60.29 level, I would say that 60 and maybe potentially beyond 60 could offer us further opportunity to the downside. Okay, so with that candle, we've just gotten the open of the market, so we're going to go ahead and open up the initial balance range here. Okay, so you can see, all right, very first minute of the opening range candle. Not really looking to take on any trade at this point, but I'm going to be looking to see what kind of range does this establish. And based on that range right now, I would say that we need to continue to look for opportunities, okay, to participate to the downside in this market. All right. Now, if we start to break some structure, certainly if we can get above this level here, 61.31, then maybe my tune will change. But I would say that this area as a whole, okay, right. I'm just going to go ahead and box this area. This area to me seems like a area for sellers. Okay, this is a seller range, right? So I'm going to go ahead and mark that in red. Okay, this would be an area, right, that I would expect to see sellers step back into the market potentially. Okay, we saw a number of participants here. I don't know if this was news driven here just before the market that drove price to the downside. I suspect that there was some sort of news related item. Now, whoever those participants are, if they are going to protect their positions, I'm probably not going to let price get too far into this candle before they would potentially step into it. Now, with that said, if we do get above, right, 61.40 and wipe out this candle, then potentially I would change my tune to look for opportunities to the bullish side. But right now, I would say that as long as this candle remains intact, I'm going to be looking for bearish opportunities in the crude oil as we head into the session here. Okay, all right, let's now go ahead and move into the equities. Okay, equities have been showing a bit of weakness in the overnight trading. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daily and see what the daily has been telling us. You can see that even the daily is starting to, I would say, break some structure here to the downside here. Okay, you can see that we have a developing candle here that is rather ominous, to be honest. It's a bearish. Should it close this way, okay, it's more of the bearish engulfing variety. If I draw my channel here, you can see that we're starting to break some structure. Okay, potentially with that candle there. Okay, if I'm going to try to get as many touches of candles here, then you can see that we've already started to break below this bullish channel here. Okay, indicating that there may be some further price move to the downside. Okay, We'll have to see. Okay, we'll have to see with the news. We'll have to see whether this candle remains intact. But the higher time frame is starting to show signs of some weakness. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead now and move into the 4-hour chart. We'll turn off our initial balance since we're still a ways away from this market opening. You can see that we have a rather strong 4-hour candle that's developing in this market that is, potentially going to break some structure here. So I would say that this level here, should it not hold, then I would say that there's a good possibility that we come back down and revisit this area down below. Okay, this area here, I'm going to mark this as more kind of a supportive area rather than a resistant area. Okay, but this area here would fill in the gap that was left back in May 9th. Okay, and this would be kind of a logical place for potentially bulls, right, to potentially step back into the market. Should they remain? Okay, you can see here that we got a spike, right, on our DI negative DI to the upside, and our ADX is starting to curl up. Okay, and you can see that our positive continues to head down, so indicating that there is a fair amount of strength in this market to the downside. Okay, moving on to the 30-minute chart. Okay, 30-minute chart, we've already broken through some ranges here that we normally look at. Average session range to the downside, our average session range low at 21,067 has been broken. You see that our volume delta bars are all to the bearish side, and again, illustrating what we were seeing earlier with our DMI indicator. We see our negative DI, okay, is well above, okay, the positive DI, and more importantly, I would say that we're starting to see a ADX momentum line showing some sign that whatever move that we're in currently has some strength. Okay, we're going to go ahead now, and it is still pre-market. Okay, but we will take a look and see where price is in relation to yesterday's value. I suspect that we're below it, but we'll go ahead and confirm that. Okay, so here we are. There it is. We are well below our value range. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and extend this line here to the right, indicating that this area could provide us maybe an area later in the session or later in maybe the week. Actually, into next week, this area could provide us maybe another location, okay, for price to offer us an opportunity for a continuation trade to the downside. Okay, I'm just kind of locating my arrow here. There it is. Yeah, so I would expect that if price were to reach this level, that this would be initially resistant. Now we are a bit extended. Okay, we are a bit extended to the downside. So it might be wise for us to wait for price to come back maybe to our daily VWAP, okay, and offer us an opportunity from daily VWAP for a downside move. I don't necessarily want to sell, as they say, sell in the hole. Okay, I'd like to see some sort of rally to come back up to some of these levels above us. Okay, daily VWAP being one of them. I'm going to go ahead and add our anchor VWAP here. All right, so anchor VWAP for the start of London here. Okay, there it is. Okay, so there's another area that we can use, okay, to support our view here. Okay, so I would say again, heading into the market for the Nasdaq, I would say that we probably need to look for opportunities to the downside. Okay, would probably wait for some sort of pullback, maybe to let's say 20,950 is one area. Maybe 21,000 would be another area if price were to rally. These would be, again, similar to kind of what we talked about with the I think the crude oil market, or was it? Yeah, I think it was crude oil. This area right here, this whole region appears to would be an area where I would expect to see sellers step back in. Okay, so if price were to rally to this area around here between 20,900 20,000, that this area could offer us a zone where we could potentially participate in a downside move. Now, we're not just going to blindly, put our limit orders or sell stop orders at these levels. We're going to wait for price to give us an indication that this downside auction is still remains intact. Okay, but this would be a logical area for me, kind of a pullback into these daily VWAP and anchor VWAP zones that I've identified to offer us an extension to the downside. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing on the NASDAQ. Happy to entertain any questions if you have them. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the ES here. Okay, so ES, again, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the daily chart here. Again, similar to what we were seeing on the NASDAQ, you can see that the market is starting to break some structure here to the downside, indicating that there's a fair amount of interest in driving price lower. Okay, I would say that an important area for this market is to see how we behave around this, let's say 57.20 level. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mark this area as a potential area of potential support here. Okay, we see that there was a fair amount of interest. Okay, fair amount of interest. We spent some time here. Okay, so I would not expect price to just, unless there's some sort of news event. Okay, I would not expect price to just drive through this area. Okay, without some sort of resistance in price. Okay, so I would expect this area to be supported. Should it break, then I think it opens the door up to get us below down to 5,200. Okay, so this is kind of I would say, an area that I would say that the bulls would need to hold in order to prop up this market. All right, looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart here, you can see that area that I identified on the daily chart is looks like it's going to come into play. This also would allow for price this gap to fill. Okay, do we have a gap that was created back in the 9th of May? Should price, I suspect, given the visuals here, I would expect that this area would potentially get filled during the session. Okay, given that is within the sights here. Okay, let's go ahead now and let's see, move down to the 30-minute chart. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of volume analysis here. Okay, you can see that price has already exceeded some of our average session ranges to the downside. Price is below our VWAP, indicating that there is, again, a fair amount of interest to the downside. You can see that price is below our value areas. Okay, driving price lower here. Again, indicating that that the market is in some sort of trend. In this case, I would say that the trend is to the downside. Okay. Moving on to the fixed range volume profile here. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the start of Thursday into the close of Thursday, and you can see, again, similar to what we were seeing in the NASDAQ. Okay, you can see that price is well below value. Okay, from yesterday, again indicating that there is a fair amount of interest to the downside. I would say that if we are interested, again, I would say that we need to wait for price to kind of pull back a little bit here, maybe up to 5,800, 5,820. Seems like a logical area maybe to want to participate in this, maybe a continuation move to the downside. We're going to go ahead and mark that in as an area of resistance. Okay, a zone, like a resistance zone. I would say anywhere in this area, anywhere in the proximity of whoever the sellers are, I would say that this could offer us maybe a continuation move to the downside. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add our anchored VWAP to this discussion. Initial balance is still 15 or so, or actually almost 20 minutes away. So we're going to go ahead. This is actually over a couple. There it is. Okay, so you can see here that both our VWAP generated from the London session as well as our daily VWAP is sloping to the downside. Okay, and price is below it again. So I would say, similar to the NASDAQ, I would say that we need to continue to look for opportunities to the downside in this market. Okay, for me, I would say that I would probably wait for some sort of pullback. I'm not really interested in participating in the short trade at the lows, right? I'd like to see or witness some sort of rally up to one of these levels around 5,800, and that would kind of offer me an opportunity. Certainly up here at 5850 would be a nice logical level. That's also proximity to our point of control here. That would be another logical area for price. That would be, I would say, a pretty good discount if we were able to get back up to that level. Okay. All right. So that's kind of what I have for the S&P. Not really seeing anything different. We see that our negative DI is indicating there's a fair amount of strength to the downside. Our ADX momentum is also indicating the same. So there is a fair amount of interest here to the downside in this market. All right. We'll go ahead and close off this session. Close off this complimentary session, I might add, with the Dow. All right. So we'll take a look at the daily chart here. Okay. Again, similar to what we were seeing in the other markets here, you can see that we are starting to break some structure, depending on how you draw this channel. But you can see that we're starting to see that we might be getting into some sort of structure here that would indicate that we might be seeing a change in sentiment in this market. Okay. Right. We got a nice close below. We got a retest, and now we have a developing candle that is quite ominous to the downside. Okay. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. Again, we can see that same channel that I drew on it's not the perfect channel, but it does you can see that price is well below our channel to the downside. Again, providing us, we broke the channel, we hovered around it, okay, consolidated around that area, and what was the next move? It was lower. You can see that we got a spike in our negative DI indicator, okay. We got a nice volume delta bar also to the downside. So all things currently are pointing to lower prices here, okay? Looking at the 30-minute chart, you can see that we have quite a bit of an extension, similar to the other equity markets, quite a bit of an extension here below a VWAP, okay? We're going to go ahead and add our anchored VWAP to this discussion here, and you can see that I would expect that we are also below our anchored VWAP for London. There we are, okay? So you can see anchored VWAP, daily VWAP, price below. So our sentiment needs to be bearish. Okay. Moving. So we're going to go ahead and draw in our fixed range volume profile just to get a sense for what the potential of where price could land here at the start of the session here, or where price is in relation to yesterday's value. I think we all know the answer to the question, but we'll confirm nonetheless here, and we'll drag this across to the close. Okay, so you can see that with this candle, price closed below. Okay, closed below our area of value from Thursday. Okay, so again, similar to the other markets. Thank you, George. You have a nice long weekend yourselves. Okay. All right, so we have this 41,827 level value area low. Again, I would say that this could offer us a nice area for a continuation move to the downside. I don't know if we're necessarily going to get back to that level, but if we do, this 41,827 level could offer us, similar to what I was saying in the other equity markets. I would say that this area right here, it does offer us maybe an area where potential price could reach and continue, okay, to the downside, okay? So this area below us could offer us this kind of area around the value range on the VWAPs, could offer us another location where we could see an extension to the downside. So headed into the markets, I would say we'll just go back through and to summarize. Here, we'll just start off with the gold again. Gold does appear to be bullish, okay? We need to continue to look for bullish opportunities, maybe not necessarily at its highs, but certainly any sort of pullback back down to these VWAPs or down to this demand zone that we've drawn here could offer us a continuation opportunity. I would say headed into the session, I would say the sentiment is to the bullish side. Looking at the crude, one last time, again, again, market continues to look a bit bearish, and we need to continue to look for downside opportunities in this market. Okay, we do see that the market is, as a whole, on the higher time frame, has been in a bit of a range. So we have to be careful with any sort of trend-based kind of strategies in the crude oil. Okay, given the fact that we are still in kind of this larger time range in this market. Okay. And then the equities, I think as a whole, we'll just kind of look at the NASDAQ, kind of represent the equities here. We are a bit extended to the downside. We are seeing a little bit of a slowdown here in this push to the downside. Again, I would be more inclined to wait, again, for opportunities to sell this market at higher prices. So, sell any sort of strength. I kind of identified some areas that encapsulates both our VWAPs here. So that could offer us maybe a location for a continuation move to the downside. So that's what I have for you guys today. Again, happy to entertain any questions. Otherwise, we'll close off this session as we close most sessions. Trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have a festive and safe Memorial Day weekend, and we'll talk again soon.